Yo, so, Deep Rock. Remember 2020? Crazy year, I know. Now, remember 2021? Somehow felt even worse. But, as luck would have it, by the end of it, I wasn't having too bad of a time. And I think I can point to one merry little title in particular as to why that might be. And, for more than 2 years later now, why I'm still feeling that way. I started playing Deep Rock back in 2021 a little bit before the Halloween event, I don't think even a week before it started, and I was baffled. Before I'd even met a single other person playing this game, I could tell there was just something. There was something about this game, from the chunky polygon style detailed in every nook and cranny, to the color palette being so grounded yet vibrant, to the lighting making the space feel real and open, to the noises you could hear reverberating throughout the rig, to the small things like the tongue-in-cheek corporate motivational dogma in the posters plastered along the walls, to the dinky little robots that actually looked like they were built to do something, to the empty beer cans and leftover Chinese takeout. There was just this overwhelming sensation that this mattered. Like this was a place that should mean something to me. That I was eventually going to be another person calling this place home. That I'd be the one casually leaving takeout next to the weapons table. That I'd be another person staring out that window with this oddly reassuring sense of comfort. And dearie me, it didn't take long to figure out why. It only took me entering one game to get that feeling, for it to all just kind of click. I started out on a level 2, and I remember the host description being something along the lines of Greenbeard's welcome. Mucho money. And so, rationally, I clicked on it and locked in Gunner. As soon as my drop pod jettisoned and made contact with the cave floor, the armored walls blasted open, and I saw a man trying to flamethrower a tiny little bug that was flying around, as a goggled man with a bushy mustache started running towards that orange top gray box I saw sitting in the space rig, pouring out a waterfall of gold and jewels into it. Once he finished, he turned to me, raised his pickaxe, and uttered those 3 words you've inevitably heard somewhere on the internet before.
Rock and stone!
I then typed, "How do I do that?" He responded with a single letter. V. I did it. Then he did. Then I did. Then he did. And back and forth until we were jumping, spamming V while violently nodding our heads up and down to the anthem of the short man. We followed the driller through the hole he had made and down into a big old room, and oh my god, they made a swamp look pretty. I cannot understate just how thoroughly flabbergasted I was seeing this place. I mean, Miyazaki would blush just looking at this cave. We had a quid of Morkite to mine, and boy oh boy was it up there. We climbed the cabin wall, gathering the rich blue jello vein by vein, and I noticed something. Another vein glittering up on the ceiling. And me, new player, not knowing how scarce the resources were, how long the cave would be, went, oh, I need to get that. So I shot my zipline up there and began the senior citizen's daily commute. However, as I was gathering the yummy rocks and stones from the comfort of my mobility lift, a rather intimidating message pops up over the intercom.
We got a hell of a blip heading your way, team. Get ready.
This was mildly terrifying, to say the least, but I noticed something again. We were pretty high up, myself even higher, and I was effectively stranded over the highest drop in the cave. I then noticed some patches of dirt getting ruffled up, and out pop roughly 7 of these things. I was kind of going a little bit into panic mode, just a little bit, but revved up my 2,000 rounds of depleted uranium, sent it on the swarm, and got to work. All seemed to be going well until out of the corner of my eye I see a giant leg, and by the time I turned to shoot it, there was already a small swarm slapping me off the ceiling. As I fell, thinking for sure I was going to die, be a hindrance to the team, get kicked, you know, the usual, I hear a hollow thump, and I hit the ground with a squishy crunch, still somehow at half health. I looked down to see a dish sponge cheese yellow patch of floor where I had fell, and through the music and eclectic bombardment of gunfire and screeches, I could hear a giddy little voice shout,
Rock and stone, yeah!
I still remember the feeling of the involuntary smile sweeping across my face as I saluted back, revved up my barrels, and began painting the ceiling with glyphid gunk. Having been used to games such as Apex, Counter-Strike, Hunt, and Dota 2 and League, I had expected the new player experience to be something more along the standard lines of get welcomed, mess up, get berated, try to learn, mess up, get berated, and so on and so forth for about 6,000 hours. To put this into perspective, I had expected this moment to be the equivalent of getting put in front of the firing squad, balked at for insubordination, and subsequently gunned down, but instead, I ended up getting a pat on the back and got told to keep moving, Helldiver. I cannot describe in words just how warm and welcoming the players of this game are. The English language wouldn't do it justice without a 5,000 word description written by J.R. Tolkien and peer-reviewed by God, and even then, 5,000 words might still be cutting it just a little bit on the tight side. I mean, seriously, the people of this game have... Hang on, did I read that right? Manners. In 2024. On the internet. In gaming. In multiplayer gaming, no less. Well, mark me as befuddled how the heck they do it. Well, you see, there are two parts to this equation that make sort of an infinite feedback loop of happiness. First off, let's start with the players. The people who generally tend to stick with this game are more on the happy, goofy end of the internet, the sorts of people who will see a wizard post slandering frog people and go out of their way to add some sort of one-off lore to it in the comments section. A good way to describe the general vibe of the average DRG player would be a tired dad who just got home from work and wants to have a little bit of free time to himself before helping out around the house, you know, just taking some time to relax and goof off. Now, imagine 4 of those people willingly choose to randomly join each other, knowing they're going to have to work together to get the mission done, from the very moment they join to the very second they all get on that drop pod out, knowing they're going to have to communicate with each other, knowing they're going to have to play in tandem with one another, knowing they're going to have to depend on one another for 10 to 25 minutes. It's kind of like if you imagine all the people who play different factions in Warhammer 40k, all the people who are Deep Rock players are basically Orc players. You're not really going to meet many of that guy here. The closest thing you'll encounter to someone like that in this game is probably going to be on a tier 5 difficulty or a deep dive, and even then it's rarely, and I mean rarely, that this is going to be an average encounter. And the people like that who you do meet usually come more from a place of not wanting to fail the mission rather than any personal vitriol towards you. However, if you're a new player, you won't be running into people like that until you're much higher level, at which point in order to even unlock these difficulties, you'll have to have a firm grasp on the class you're playing, meaning by the time you even get to these players, you're already going to be not doing the things that might irritate them. And, as a new player, people will recognize you as a new player, or Greenbeard. If they see this number is low, they'll know you're a Greenbeard. If they see this number is low, they'll know you're a Greenbeard, and they'll treat you like one. Kind of like the way people interact with sprouts in Final Fantasy XIV, and if you don't get what I just said, let me explain. Deep Rock players know this game can be a bit imposing and a little overwhelming when you're new to it. So when they see you're a new miner eager to brave the caves of Hoxes, they want to do everything in their power to make sure that you have a good time. Kind of like how people treat new players playing Dishonored for the first time, but rather than being so strict and overbearing that it shuts the person off from experiencing the game the way that they want to, the Greybeards of Deep Rock are much more like a tutorial guide, answering questions when asked and giving legitimately useful pointers that'll get a new player cleared up of any confusion they might have, leaving them to choose and discover what ways they would like to have fun themselves. You'll also start to notice that they say "are" a lot in chat. That means ready, as in I'm ready, I'm good to go, or are we all ready, or should we wait to start? The people in this game don't rush you, they don't pressure you into certain responses, they'll actually give you a minute if you need a minute, whether that be to grab some extra loot, heal up, grab a restock on supplies, etc, etc. You can even do the classic, my cat's on fire, gimme a sec, and they'll all start running circles around you while you're AFK, fending off any bugs that might come your way. Even if a swarm shows up, they'll do their damn best to make sure you don't go down, and if you do go down, they'll make sure to keep on reviving you. Over and over and over again until you hop back in chat and say, "All good, fire's out," to which they all start nodding, shouting rock and stone as you all continue on forward on your holy crusade through the mines. Every little bit of this game is treated like this. You call a resupply, each person gets 1 refill. You need 2? Just ask. Someone doesn't need theirs, they'll ping it and say, "I'm good, take mine." Speaking of pinging, this is the best pinging system in any game, ever. Remember when Apex Legends came out and everyone is giving the pinging system praise for being super smooth and how the characters in-game would actively call out whatever the context of the ping entailed? Yeah, now imagine that, but way, way, way better. Supply pod, voice line. Red sugar, voice line. Thermal vent, voice line. Friendly fire, voice line. You see minerals up there? Voice line. Oppressor, voice line. Dwarf, voice line. Mactera swarm, voice line. Mushroom, voice line. And, of course, the ritual. The mechanics through and through blend so well with every little aspect of this game, including the players. It's no wonder that the game has cultivated the community it has when every little thing gives a sense of we're all in this together. All the voice lines from the dwarves sound like a bunch of friends goofing off in a call together. They actually banter. Every little call has such a jovial air of delivery through the intonation, the inflection, through the audible kerning in the lines. It makes it feel like you're sitting down with a bunch of homies even if you've never met any of each other in your entire lives, because all it takes is someone crunching their pickaxe into a bug behind you and saluting right afterwards to get that soothing feeling of, yeah, we're all on the same page here. Speaking of being on the same page, everyone brings the same toolkit in a different way. Everyone is just as much support as one another, everyone is just as much DPS as one another, and everyone is just as much tank as one another. Yet another game saying to hell with the Holy Trinity, just do the fun thing and make everyone DPS utility. Everyone's got a very strong set of primary and secondary weapons which can all be spec'd to do different things, all of which are viable and all of which are fun. Everyone's got a different movement tool to help the team traverse the map, and everyone's got a different supporting tool to make up for each other's weaknesses. From combat to mining to prepping to even traversing, everyone has to rely on one another. There aren't really any jack of all trades in this game. Each class has their own specificities and they need people to be able to do the things that they can't. Just like how they know they have a specific thing the team is going to depend on them for. Everyone gets the spotlight. Everyone has these little moments to shine in every mission and get a bunch of high fives right afterward. And if someone tries to be the superstar main character all the time, kind of like how a lot of other multiplayer games tend to prop up and reinforce, in this game, that's how you die and lose the mission. Everyone is doing nearly the same job in varying different ways, so everyone is just as important and crucial to the mission's success as everyone else. Everyone has the exact same end goal. Put it simply, if a competitive multiplayer game chose to go about team play like this, it'd probably be a whole lot less toxic than its fellow contemporaries. Oh wait, now for the big bow on top that wrapped this box and built the president inside. Ghost ship. It makes sense why this game feels like it has a soul when you, the player, can take one look at the people who made the game and tell that they have a soul. Not to discredit a lot of the hard work that's been done in this industry, especially by all the different types of developers, but there's just something to be said when you can boot up 10 games, get to the 11th and go, oh, this is different. It's clear with how transparent the devs are with their intentions why people trust them. I mean, at the end of every new season update trailer, they never fail to state it clearly that the update is coming to everyone, the battle pass is entirely free for all players, and if you really, really want to give more money to us, we're giving you a banger cosmetic pack with a new skin and paint job for every dwarf and for every gun, and your little robot friend. If you really just want to support us more. They don't put gameplay behind a paywall. They don't make you log in for daily rewards. There is no fear of missing out with any of this stuff, because if you do miss something from the battle pass or cosmetic tree or seasonal or holiday event, you can go find them in game later. With all the stuff that was going on at the time when I got the game and still is now, I can't thank this game's devs and community enough for making me feel genuinely hopeful during a very tumultuous couple of years, and even if things do end up getting worse, this game and the people I've met in it still have given me a good deal of hope. And if this game for whatever reason ends up going away, well, the experiences I've had with others in this game, they've still happened. Still give me hope anyways. Hi, I don't really want this to feel like I'm slide canceling a heartfelt ending into a sales pitch, but if anything I've said in this video sparked your interest, this game is 10 American schmackaroos on Steam right now, 2/3 off, but fair warning, I've heard people genuinely upset that they bought this game on sale because they felt like they were ripping off the developers. The new season, the start of Year 5's out now, just came out a few days ago, so if you're looking to get into it and start playing, now would be a great time. If you want a breakdown of the new stuff they've added, as well as a good general feel of the game's atmosphere, I'd recommend this video right here. It's a breakdown from the devs, and you can see why people are so pumped for this season. They added the moving combat elevator arena from every hack and slash ever as a mission type, so yeah, it's pretty dang fun. Alright, take care and see you soon. Rock and stone, brothers.